How do you know if you're a good person? Is it about what you do, the actions you take, the rules you follow even when no one is watching? Or is it about who you are deep down? The kind of character you've built over a lifetime? The instincts that guide you when there's no rulebook to consult? Now, picture this. A shopkeeper stands behind their counter, honest as the day is long. They never cheat a customer, never lie about their products, always give exact change. Now here's the million-dollar question that has philosophers tearing their hair out for centuries. Is this person good because they have a beautiful soul, or are they good because they follow the rules? What if they're only honest because they enjoy it? Does that somehow make them less moral? This isn't just academic hair-splitting. This question cuts to the heart of how we judge ourselves and others every single day. Are we measuring people by who they are on the inside, or by what they actually do? It's the difference between saying someone is a good person versus saying someone did a good thing. And believe it or not, two of history's heavyweight thinkers went to war over this exact divide. In one corner, we have Aristotle, the ancient Greek philosopher who believed that being good is like building muscle. You practice virtue until it becomes second nature, until doing the right thing feels as natural as breathing. In the other corner stands Immanuel Kant, the 18th century thinker who argued that true morality has nothing to do with feelings at all. It's about cold, hard duty even when it hurts. Today we're going to dive deep into a 2,000-year-old feud between Aristotle and Immanuel Kant to understand whether you should focus on developing a great character, your internal ethics, or following universal rules, your external morals. By the end, you'll see that the tension between these two perspectives isn't a problem to be solved, but a powerful engine for a truly rich and self-aware life. This debate is the foundation for everything you consider right and wrong. Part 1. The Aristotelian way, becoming your best self. For Aristotle, life isn't random chaos. Everything we do aims at something. You eat breakfast to fuel your body, you work to earn money. You earn money to live comfortably, but what's the ultimate point of living? Aristotle's answer is eudaimonia, a Greek word that gets clumsily translated as happiness. However, happiness is a feeling that comes and goes. Eudaimonia is something much deeper. Eudaimonia is more like human flourishing or living excellently. It's not about feeling good in the moment, like when you eat ice cream or win money at the horse races. Think of an Olympic athlete who not only wins the gold medal, but genuinely loves the training, the discipline, and the competition. That whole experience is his eudaimonia. So then eudaimonia is about living a life that, when you look back on all of its moments, you can say, that was a life well lived. But here's where it gets interesting. Eudaimonia isn't achieved by following a rule book or memorizing commandments. It's achieved through virtue, through becoming a certain type of person. Think of it like learning to play an instrument. You don't become a great guitarist by reading about music theory. You practice until your fingers know what to do without thinking. Virtue works the same way. You become brave by acting bravely again and again until courage becomes part of your character. Aristotle called this excellent character areté, usually translated as virtue. But what exactly is virtue? Here's where Aristotle gets clever. He says, virtue is the middle path between two extremes. Take courage. On one end, you have cowardice, running away from every challenge. On the other end, you have recklessness, charging into danger without thinking. Courage sits right in the middle, facing genuine threats with appropriate caution. The same pattern repeats everywhere. Generosity is the middle ground between stinginess and wasteful spending. Proper pride sits between self-hatred and arrogance. Honesty balances between brutal bluntness and deceptive flattery. Aristotle calls this the golden mean. And it's not about being mediocre, it's about hitting the sweet spot in every situation. But wait, how do you know where the middle is? That's where practical wisdom, or phronesis, comes in. This is the ability to read a situation and know what virtue demands right now. The courage needed to speak up in a meeting is different from the courage needed to rescue someone from a burning building. There's no one-size-fits-all formula. You need experience, judgment, and sensitivity to the context of the situation. A truly good person doesn't just blindly follow rules. They understand the spirit behind them and they adapt accordingly. Part 2, Kant's Deontological Morals, the Iron Law of Duty. Now let's jump forward about 2,000 years to philosopher Immanuel Kant walking the streets of Königsberg, Prussia, now Germany, with clockwork precision. Kant looked at Aristotle's system and saw a massive problem. It's too squishy, too dependent on circumstances and personal character. What if you had a terrible childhood and never developed good character? Are you just out of luck, morally speaking? Kant believed there had to be something absolute, something that applies to everyone equally, regardless of their background, feelings, or personality. His starting point is radical. The only thing that's purely good, no strings attached, is a good will. Not happiness, not success, not even virtue in Aristotle's sense. just the will to do what's right. Here's the twist that makes people's heads spin. According to Kant, an action only has moral worth if you do it from duty, not because you want to or because it feels good. Let's say you're naturally a cheerful, helpful person who loves making others happy. You see someone struggling with groceries and you help them because it makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside. Kant says that's nice, but it's not truly moral. Why? Because you're just following your inclinations, your natural desires. There's no moral credit for doing what you already wanted to do. True morality for Kant kicks in when you act from duty even when everything in you doesn't want to. You tell the truth even when lying would be easier. You keep your promise even when breaking it would benefit you. The moral worth comes from the motive, not the outcome or your feelings about it. So where does duty come from? From pure reason itself, through what Kant calls the categorical imperative. This is the ultimate moral law, and it comes in different formulations. The first one, the formula of universal law, goes like this: only act according to rules that you could want everyone to follow. It's a consistency test. Ask yourself, what if everyone did what I'm about to do? If you're thinking about lying, imagine a world where everyone lies all the time. That world collapses because language loses meaning. So lying is wrong, period, no exceptions. The second formulation, the formula of humanity, focuses on human dignity. Never treat people merely as tools for your own purposes. Always treat them as ends in themselves, as beings with their own inherent worth. You can't use people like objects, even if it serves some greater good. This is why Kant opposed people who use manipulation and deception so fiercely. They treat people as mere means to an end. For Kant, morality is built on rationality and autonomy, the idea that you give the law to yourself through reason. You aren't just a sheep following social custom. You are a fully self-governing moral agent. What makes this system powerful is that it's universal and rational. You don't need to be raised by perfect parents. You don't need a naturally good temperament. You just need reason. And reason is available to everyone. Morality isn't about who you are, it's about what you do and why you do it. It's about autonomy, giving yourself the law through your own rational will. Part 3. When Giants Collide, the Compassionate Shopkeeper. Let's put these two systems in the ring together with a concrete example. Imagine our honest shopkeeper again. This person never cheats customers, always tells the truth about products and treats everyone fairly. Aristotle walks into the shop, observes for a while and asks, does this shopkeeper take pleasure in honesty? Do they genuinely care about their customers? If the answer is yes, if honesty flows naturally from a well-developed character, Aristotle gives them full marks. This person has cultivated the virtue of honesty through practice and experience. They don't have to force themselves to do right, they want to do right. That's the ideal. Kant enters the same shop and asks different questions. Why is this shopkeeper honest? If they're honest because they like their customers, that's just preference. If they're honest because it's good for business and keeps customers coming back, that's just self-interest. Neither one counts as truly moral. The shopkeeper only deserves moral praise if they're honest, purely from duty, because honesty is the right thing to do, regardless of consequences or feelings. Here's where the tension explodes. For Kant, the shopkeeper who enjoys being honest is actually less praiseworthy than one who hates it, but does it anyway out of duty. The person who struggles against their inclinations and wins shows true moral fibre. But Aristotle would flip this on its head. A person who finds honesty painful and unnatural hasn't truly internalised virtue. They're morally incomplete. The goal isn't to white-knuckle your way through life fighting your own nature. The goal is to transform your nature so that virtue feels good. Kant would fire back that this makes morality too dependent on luck and circumstances. What if your upbringing was terrible? What if you never learned to feel good about doing good? Aristotle's system seems to write off people who had bad starts in life, but Kant's system is accessible to anyone with reason. You don't need to feel the right things. You just need to do the right things for the right reasons. Aristotle would counter that Kant's vision creates cold, mechanical people who follow rules without heart. Imagine someone who visits their sick friend in the hospital purely from duty, not because they actually care. That's disturbing, not admirable. Real virtue integrates emotion and reason. The virtuous person doesn't just do the right thing, they feel appropriately about it. They take pleasure in helping others and feel pain when they fail. Morality should work with human psychology, not against it. The tension extends to how they think about happiness. For Aristotle, happiness and morality are intimately connected. The whole point of developing virtue is to live a flourishing life. Ethics exist to make us fully human, to help us thrive. But Kant sees danger here. If you make morality about happiness, even refined happiness, you're making it selfish. You're following moral rules because they benefit you, not because they're right. That's what he calls heteronomy, being governed by external desires rather than your own rational will. True morality must be autonomous and be independent of any payoff. Part 4. where the rubber meets the road. These aren't just theoretical disagreements, they play out in real moral dilemmas. Consider consequences versus intentions. Aristotle takes a lifetime view. What matters is whether you've lived well overall, developed good character and achieved eudaimonia. Individual actions matter, but they're part of a larger pattern. This makes his system somewhat friendly to consequences, even if it's not purely consequentialist. Kant doesn't care about the long view. He cares about the specific moment of action. Was your maxim, your operating principle, right then? A single lie told from duty would be wrong, even if it leads to wonderful outcomes. A single truth told from duty would be right, even if it causes disaster. The rightness is in the intention, not the result. This creates radically different attitudes toward moral rules. Kant is famous for his rigidity. He once argued that you shouldn't lie even to a murderer asking where your friend is hiding in your home. The rule against lying is absolute, no exceptions, no wiggle room. This strikes many people as insane, but it follows from his logic. If you make exceptions, you're not really treating the rule as universal. Aristotle would find this absurd. Practical wisdom means knowing when and how to apply principles. The person of good character understands that honesty usually means speaking truth, but might mean strategic silence in certain circumstances. Virtue adapts to context. The mean for courage on the battlefield isn't the same as the mean in a philosophical debate. Life is messy, and morality must be flexible enough to handle that mess. But flexibility creates its own problem. What if your practical wisdom fails? What if you're sincerely trying to be virtuous but make a terrible judgment call that hurts innocent people? Aristotle's system seems to excuse catastrophic errors as long as the character was well-intentioned. Meanwhile, Kant's strict rules might prevent such errors, but at the cost of creating dutiful robots who lack compassion. Part 5. Finding our way forward. After all this philosophical combat, where does that leave us? Modern moral philosophy hasn't resolved this tension. We still argue about whether character or action matters more, whether rules should be absolute or contextual, whether morality should aim at human flourishing or stand independent of it. But maybe that's okay. Maybe we need both perspectives. Kant gives us the moral floor, the baseline of universal duties that apply to everyone. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't treat people as mere tools to achieve some goal. These rules protect human dignity and create stable societies. And Aristotle gives us the ethical ceiling, the aspirational ideal of the truly good person who doesn't just follow rules, but embodies virtue so completely that doing good becomes effortless and joyful. The debate between Aristotle and Kant forces us to hold two essential truths in our minds at once. It asks us to consider both the action and the agent, the law and the character, the duty we owe to others and the life we build for ourselves. And in that endless, profound conversation, we continue the difficult, beautiful work of figuring out what it really means to be good.